Anyways, welcome to the Paracast. I'm your host, Tomas the Boss Hernandez. Joining you after probably one of the longest breaks we've had because of Mother's Day and sickness. But anyway, joining me tonight, every time Robert goes out of town, he comes back sick, which brings me to my next point. Don't have gay sex when you're out of town. It's Robert Wyatt.
Well, John is from California, and you know what they say about Californians. Yeah.
It's always when he's John. COVID twice.
Every time with that guy. I swear, he's just like, mother effer. Like, stop. I'm not going anywhere with him.
He didn't get sick, did he?
No, he just made me sick. He just like brings his diseased ass to Utah, and then I have to drive with him.
Have him stop spitting in your mouth.
Well, it's the sign that it's the shirt that John wears where it's like it just says make out with me, and so whenever he just sits by someone who's lonely, he just looks in their eyes and they start making out, and then he goes to Robert, goes, "You want the rest of this Pepsi?" And Robert goes, "Why not?" And that's how it happens. Well, after Nationals, the frugal shooter will have to change his name to the bougie banger. It's Kevin Isaac.
Upgrading from mechanic. Going
ahead.
high class.
Go ahead.
Officially?
So after Nats, I'm going to shoot the DWX for Utah State and for Red Rock Rumble.
Nice.
Well, you might as well get that Instagram handle before this goes live, the bougie banger. So you get...
Don't tell my wife I'm going to maybe buy another DWX because one is none, right?
It's a business
one is none.
Optics, so.
That's why I have 4.
Yeah.
Well,
but you'll have to buy the handle. You'll have to buy the handle from tuxedo wearing, flash banging, child kicking Jared Stepp.
Listen, I punted one child once, and they were small. It's fine. They were fine. They landed on a nice soft bed.
Their bones.
It looked worse than it was because. It looked worse than it was because the kid was already pre-jumping. If I had kicked him straight from the ground, he wouldn't have gone that far. But he was already airborne when I kicked him, so it looked like I kicked him much harder.
The worst part is I just yelled Falcon right before I kicked him, and then they got mad at me.
It's only because it was on video.
Yeah. Falcon punch. Falcon kick.
This is a Heckler & Koch VP9.
Wow. Is it for sale?
This pin... Right here, no, it is not for sale. In fact, I've invested more money. I bought this M Carbo kit that's supposed to take the 5.5 pound trigger down to like 3.5.
And
next week it'll be for sale, kids. Tom, just hit him up on Instagram.
Hold on. I got talked through not selling that MP5K when I stripped a screw on the mount. Robert said, "Don't be a bitch. No one likes a Scorpion." I was like, "You're right." And then I immediately bought a stock and SBR the damn thing.
Attaboy.
So, anyways,
I think I know why Tommy does this. Actually.
You're
doing this because if he sells all these things, he's never making a profit, right? So that new kind of ruling in courts that's going through, he can't be making money out of this. So he's got a plausible liability, right? Like, I'm not selling to make money. I'm losing money. In fact.
I have a new philosophy.
That didn't stop
trying
that
to
poor
feel
guy from getting shot in Arkansas.
I'm going to stop trying to fill my heart with things. Just new service pistols. I'm going to keep the service pistols that I have. But anyway, this service pistol right here. This is a trigger stop pin. This trigger side stop pin is a blind pin. It's only on one side of the gun. And it's by 2 parts. And is it extremely hard to push out because...
German efficiency.
German efficiency. HK makes guns so that you'll never have to take them apart. And so one of the things on the HK trigger, they use... some spring for the trigger return spring that came out of a gosh damn locomotive, so you'll never have to replace it. And so most of the trigger weight is in the actual trigger return spring. And so M Carbo, the fine people at M Carbo that make a fantastic product for a very little price, have a $15 VP9 trigger kit. And essentially all the guys who do trigger jobs, they put the M Carbo kit in there and they put a different trigger shoe. Anyways, when you try to push that trigger stop pin out, if you put the pin in too far, you can break something that's molded into the frame, thus ruining your frame. And if you try to press too hard, it's pressed so far in there that you can actually bend the frame. And so I was watching videos on how to do this, not trying to destroy my gun, and I invested some more money and went down to a little store called Lowe's.
Oh, Lord.
And you have to get one of these clamps so that you can clamp the frame so the frame will not bend while you're pushing this pin. Once you push the pin out once, everyone says it gets, 100 times easier from then on out because they just sit that thing there. Yeah. Once you put nothing like the first time though. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, so once you
What the hell?
what the hell are you talking about? I'm talking about HKs. I'm talking about HKs. Don't. You have to buy a clamp.
Tommy is alone.
He's single. The frame to push this thing.
Don't question what he does late at night.
The clamp also conveniently fits just between the throat. It compresses on both sides of the jugular.
If you're going to go out, that's the way I like to go out. And if I go out any other way, please make it look like I went out that way. So get to the house as soon as possible.
Start talking about Boeing. It'll be fine.
Stop talking about them doors. Anyways, so yeah, I got that, and I'm starting to press that bad boy out, and going to put the M Carbo kit in there. I got like halfway through it, and I think all of us right now, we're all middle aged. We've all been screwing around with guns for over a decade, and we've all learned our base instincts of we can do this. We're going to be the one who can do it with the tools we have. Should be ruined out of us. Jared needs a torque wrench.
No,
he needs a torque wrench.
Listen,
the weird thing is, I have
brass hammer. The steel would work just fine.
Yeah, it's like, why the f is this DWX marred the shit out of? Who decided to take a steel punch to this thing? I could have waited. And the funny thing is, it's not like all of us are like, this ain't 1997. We're not in the Brownells catalog flipping. Do I have the $60 for the gun set punch set? Do I? It's going to be 4 weeks before I can work on this gun. It's like, no, you go to Amazon. It says it'll be delivered tomorrow morning at 5 to 7 a.m.
Listen.
And you could just wait and do it, or you could break the gun.
All I'm saying is,
I'm not going to wait.
Be careful. Look, I'll just have soft.
When I started construction years ago, and they said, buy this framing hammer, I bought the framing hammer. And a hammer's a hammer. And if the side of your gun has waffle prints in it, well, that's just artistic. A shitty gun.
It's artistic.
If I take a Dremel tool and I grind down the side of my slide, that's just bougie now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I went to my daughter's place, and I gave her that Beretta 92 FS that I put the stars grip and had refinished and had the barrel glass beaded, so it was like a stainless look. And I was looking at that gun, and I remember roll pin scrapes by the safety from when I'm trying to remove that safety and it scrapes out. I remember when I hogged out the magwell and it was just nothing but shiny metal. I remembered when I would shoot it and I left like a wear mark on the front strap, and then like it had all these little wear marks on there because the Beretta finish is made out of chalk. And I sat there and I pulled it out because I took that gun down to black ice and I had them, black Teflon coat everything on there and refinish everything. And I just looked at that gun and I was just like, this thing is freaking beautiful. This is like just a beautiful pistol that I gave to my daughter. And I'm just like, it's all cosmetic surgery, bitches. Like that gun underneath, like if you strip that thing down to the metal, you'd be like, who the hell handled this? But like,
has been gnawing on the side of this fucking hammer.
It shows nothing. And I'm sitting there and I'm playing with my P2000. I'm playing with that. And I sit there and I dry fire that thing a couple times. I'm like, gosh damn, no one makes a double action trigger like Beretta. Like it's still, do they make the most reliable pistol ever? No. How many times did I crack that bad boy open and find broken parts or missing pieces? A few times.
That seems reliable.
But like
you and Robert,
the one thing too is like it still works. The gun will work with stuff missing. But when you open it up, you're just like, dear God, I shot like the biggest match of the year, and the firing pin's in 4 pieces.
It still works.
Like that's the Beretta for you, and it feels fantastic. It literally is. Leave it to the Italians. It's fast cars, making love on the beach, going to work 5 days in a row. Ease up, peeps, ease up.
It's fine.
So anyways, on the other end of the spectrum, as we goes on vacation, I went into work a couple days because, it's overtime all day long. And I was like, all right, I'll save some of this money and then I'll get something. And then I go online to fit. It's been 3 weeks, everybody. The HK fix is pretty legit. So I went and I got one of my dream HK pistols, which was a USP 9 Tactical. So, yeah, that's right. O-ring, threaded barrel, USP, adjustable sights, matched adjustable trigger, and I bought one of those. But I found one on the site called Defense Depot, and because normally one of those things is, $1,300, and I'm sitting there looking at it, and I see one. It's tan Cerakote slide, tan Cerakote frame. No, sorry, tan frame, tan Cerakote slide from HK Factory, and it says 2 10-round mags, and I'm like, ugh, not the 10-round mags, but it was $874 shipped, and for $400, I'll take the 2 10-round mags and go buy, 5 15-rounders from them.
Don't you have like 11 billion mags right now?
So here's the issue.
They're different.
Everything from the USP Compact forward is the same magazine pattern. The HK45 is different magazine pattern, but the USP 9mm has, at that point, they had a polymer magazine like the Glock.
Wow.
Because Heckler & Koch was doing all this stuff, and they're like, we're going to go to these polymer magazines.
Were they like translucent, kind of?
Yes, they can make they have a translucent one too in the Jet Funnel magazine. So they had all this cool stuff, and then when they had to make the smaller gun, the USP Compact, they realized that they could not meet the grip circumference that they needed with the polymer magazine, and so what they ended up having to do is they had to go to a steel magazine, and that's the pattern they use to this day in the P30 and all that other shit in the VP9. But that USP 9mm has that polymer magazine, and there's no retrofit kit or whatever to do that, because the one thing, it's like they have a hammer spring in the back of that grip, so there's no room to kind of go around and play with. Glock, for some reason, I don't know why, Glock still have that cutout in the back of the grip, and what that allowed them to do later on was shrink that well and then put the grip sleeves over it to adjust the grip. But everyone else from the beginning was shoving stuff in the back of that grip. And, give it to them. Like, that kind of didn't need to be there for the Gen 1 and the Gen 2, besides kind of like creating that grip angle. And they made that, and it's kind of like one of those things that they kind of lucked into in the future. Yeah.
I love that. I love that Tom is just a plethora of knowledge of useless, outdated shit.
That is weaponized autism right there, baby.
Tom, you would do so well in a nice little museum.
He can also tell you the train schedule. I mean, he's pretty down with that.
Oh, that one kid who does the train videos where he has like the camera that close to his face. You watch one of those videos, and then you watch a bunch of them. You're just like, you know what? I'm so happy people get so excited about that shit. That guy's so awesome. Like, I want to do the same videos when we're at the front, and it's just like, Chris is gonna pull out for me an HK Mark 23 and just be in front of the gun counter or something like that. But yeah, no, the way things are now and the way things used to be is very interesting, especially with the amount of shit products that companies put out. Like, there's basically like 3 or 4 companies who you don't have to fuck around with: Glock, CZ. CZ, if you have a CZ, it's because you decided to buy the competition version and you decided to dick around with it. Everything else like that, pretty good from the factory. The Dan Wesson stuff you kind of put in that counter, H&K and stuff like that. But man, we've all kind of dealt with, even like some of our favorite pistols, the crap that puts out. Let me show you one. Second generation Beretta 92 90-2. What's that rattle, Thomas? The locking block.
It's not that big of a deal.
You need that.
Among all the other parts that are broke. What?
Robert took a very quality gun, and then he went over to a place called Lone Wolf and got something. Robert, tell us about it.
I got a 10mm conversion barrel. Why? Because Andrew's like, what do you want for your birthday? And I'm like, I don't know. I have everything. This is the problem. When you get to be my age, I pretty much have everything I want. And if I don't have something, I just go buy it. So I had to sit there and think a lot. And I'm like, I don't have this. So I got a 10mm conversion barrel. For what reason? I don't know. But now I can shoot 10mm. I got it.
That's a good point. So you got a conversion for a Glock 22, it looks like, or a Glock?
So it was a Glock 41.
41.
It was the 41. But the 41 is by far, to me, that is the best large frame iteration that Glock ever came out with, because the slide is the width of a 35. It's not the chunky boy that you get in the
Look how
21.
Thick
and
that barrel is. Holy shit.
I know. Isn't that nuts?
That's a BBC right there.
Yeah, that's a chunky boy. But it's super
Big
cool.
Black conversion kit.
I love the G41, and I mean the only thing about it, I mean, changing out, I mean, I had to get different magazines, but obviously that would work. But other than that, it works. I mean, it works great. It came with a threaded barrel. I don't know what I'm ever going to do with that. I mean, it's not like I'm going to carry around a suppressed 10mm. It doesn't make sense.
You could put a comp on it.
Well, you could W70. You could W74 the guide rod. You could create well, the one thing like with 10mm is like you can always scale it back to like some sort of like subsonic large bullet 40 caliber.
Right.
Like go find some 200 grain weird stuff, and you could shoot it out of that thing, and then have the guide rod that kind of adjusts to get the gun to run.
That's the one thing. Go ahead. I'll tell you in a second.
10mm, that shit has freaking what we would call ballistic range. Like 10mm can kill anything on Earth. Mm-hmm. Like if you put the right 10mm bullet, it's like, do I want to fight a polar bear with it? God, no. Could I fight a polar bear with it? I could.
I think.
And so like 10 mil, like a suppressed 10mm would be pretty interesting to kind of shoot, because at least it might be somewhat softer on your end, but like might be a little softer on your end, definitely probably a little bit more pleasant at the ear if you had to shoot it. But one thing 10mm gives you, it gives you range and it gives you hurt.
Right.
A lot of hurt. No one ever got shot with a 40 caliber size bullet, especially a 10mm, and it underperformed.
Well, and the funny thing about it is like Lex has the G40, and I like that. And I've shot other 10mm, and I've never shot one out of a 41. So I'll be really interested, because I've never thought the 10mm I've always thought like the 357 was probably the most aggressive of a hit in the hands kind of gun out there. I've shot like the Desert Eagle, the 50 AEs. I've shot the 10mm. I've never shot a Casull, but even the 500 Smith & Wesson, they never felt like they were just really, really just beat the hell out of your hands. So I'm really curious how it runs in this longer version. But yep. Andy Erickson was talking about it a bit on his show, and that's what kind of reminded me. I'm like, oh, I could ask for that, and so I sent a message to my friend Sean Edmonds, and I was just like, hey, tell me where you got that, and so he sent me to Lone Wolf, and
which granted, Lone Wolf from 10 years ago, where they had a bunch of Chinese products, is pretty different from the Lone Wolf you have today. Like they are actually making a lot of that stuff, I believe, in Idaho at the factory. Like if you go on their Instagram, they show you milling everything and doing all that. Like, good for Lone Wolf, like taking everything in house.
Yeah, and I've always had good luck with their barrels. They had some frame problems with their, what was it, the Timberwolf, I think it was called.
The Timberwolf, yeah, you needed to do a ton of like trigger bar, cruciform, firing pin adjustments to get those things to kind of run, because there is a lot more slop in them into a Glock frame, and sometimes on a Glock frame you still have to do some cruciform adjustments. Mm-hmm. To get the engagement right, but there was more cruciform adjustments. Like
the thing,
can I bend the cruciform that much more? Can I?
Right. The thing I'm sort of curious about a little bit is one of the things. So, like the Gen 4 was the first time they came out with the dual recoil spring, and in the 9mm. It didn't really have a lot of benefit, but when you got up into the heavier calibers like the 45s, the 10mm, and even 40 to some extent, the dual recoil actually seemed to really benefit the gun.
Yeah.
And so I'm genuinely curious what would happen if I go and I pull out the dual recoil just for a single spring. I have no idea the difference if it's going to be, better, worse, indifferent. But I'm kind of curious.
Or yeah,
and so
single spring increase. The cool thing that they did with that G41, like they had the G21 and the G20, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they were considerably fat and they were shorter, and that's how you got the weight into the slide. And what was interesting with the G41, if Robert shows it up like sights facing the camera, is that on the top of the gun there's no cutout like the 34 was. And so what they did is they left it longer, and then even in the back of the gun, you can see there's not the deep cutouts to lighten up the slide. They just left most of that material in, and then they get a Glock 34 with gun. Like HK did the same thing with like their P30s and stuff like that. They left a very narrow gun and they left a ton of weight in the gun so that it would be compatible with all their other stuff.
Yeah.
And that's better. Because the one thing about the freaking Glock 20, Glock 21 is those slides were aircraft carriers. Like your sights were like a gigantic dong with small testicles. That's what the sights was like. Mm-hmm. That much space on each side, and then the sights in the middle, and then that was that. So,
and honestly, that wasn't bad for a large caliber Glock, because the width it made the 20 and the 21, it made them shoot exceptionally well. And I mean, they were just very easy to shoot guns. But the funny thing is, and I actually never really paid attention to it till I shot that CDPA match when I was looking for a holster, and I was like, oh, this just fits right in my 34. And being left-handed, and I always have to go out of my way to find holsters. That was a cool thing. I really, really liked the fact that I could just drop this in my 34 holster, and I was good to go. And it's a silly thing, but at the time, it actually meant a lot. And so I think I am going to have them. I'm going to have Josh Dobson cut the slide for an optic, because let's be honest, the world's gone optics, and why not? I just think it'd be fun.
Yeah, and the one thing that you get with the 10 millimeter round of that, Robert, is like 200-yard shots.
You need to believe in yourself. If you're going to walk around with a hand of God pistol, you don't need no stinking red dot. Just use it.
You don't, right? Oh, like if you hit him in the arm, it's still effective, right?
Yeah. It blows the arm off.
I have some double tap.
I have no problem in the world with the iron sight, like at all. I'm really comfortable with these, but I have an optic. It has nothing to go on. So
which optic is that? Is there one that's rated 10 millimeter?
The Vortex Defender ST, baby.
Fox Justice
no. Actually, here's what I did. I just went out and I looked what had the fastest return policy on their warranty, and that's what I'm going to put on.
2 of them.
The Vortex. Hey, Vortex, how you guys doing?
It's Rob again.
This optic has the shaken baby syndrome. What's going on?
The funny thing is, like,
2 shots through it.
The hard thing is you just got to find ammo. I mean, there's a lot of like the Underwoods and things like that. Like, who has 10 millimeter ammo?
That's what I've been trying to tell you, Robert. I have some 10 millimeter hard cast lead from Double Tap that's 230 grain, and it's like, I think 1,100 feet per second.
Oh, that is a spicy meatball. Yeah,
and so we need to go out and shoot that. And go destroy some automatons with it or something, because that's
yes,
that's what we call a 2 or 3 gel block test. that's a non-recoverable. The one thing about
the
that,
refrigerator
like
test, Tommy, you put the gel block behind the refrigerator, so you shoot the refrigerator, and then it goes through the gel block.
But yeah, I have some of those, so we can try it out.
We should do that. That'd be fun.
The iron sights on, like, so here's the deal. Like, you got your brand new 10 millimeter threaded barrel pistol. Your point of aim on whatever sights you have, like, you're gonna have to change the sights on that gun to get that thing to be point of aim, point of impact. And then you hang a suppressor on the end of that 6-inch barrel. You're going to have to then adjust the sights to where that's going to hit with the suppressor. So a dot or adjustable set of irons is probably going to be your best bet with that thing, because you're going to have that thing, and that thing is going to shoot so effing high at 100 yards because of the velocity that's putting out versus a 45. And then you're going to go like, okay, get the sights, and then you're going to hang a suppressor off that thing.
That's why.
And this is like,
just believe in yourself. Just point it at things.
I know it sounds like a cat poster.
I'm not aiming. I'm just pointing it at this, and then that thing goes away.
Yeah, this sounds like I was on Silencer Shop, and they have that Silencer Co. They now have like a titanium or like a lighter version, aluminum version of the 46, like the hybrid 46. So it will suppress anything from a 22 to a 46 caliber, and like that's the suppressor. Like for Kevin, it's just like, this will go on anything. I could do anything. I can buy the little adapters to change the holes in the boosters. And they're like $600 on Silencer Shop. So that's why you get one of those. You put that on the end of a 10 millimeter, and then you just like, okay. And then if Flux ever comes out with a large frame Glock brace, Like,
well, what's it? Is the P320? There's a 10 millimeter version, right? It's a different FCU.
No, God, no, God, no. You don't trust a P320 with 9 millimeter. You're going to put a 10 millimeter in that shit.
Right? Somebody else's barrel.
They're going to call. They're going to call you the disabled shooter after that, dude. I would.
I'll be back.
You want to test fire this, Robert?
Kevin's now going to start working with that nub hands guy.
There's two things that should not go together: 10 millimeter and out of battery detonations. That's not the combo we are looking for.
Which admittedly is better, because I thought you were going to say things that should not go together: SIG and firearms.
No.
Well, they used to back in the day. I have books. I in the archives. I can open up the archives and show you examples of well-made pistols. But no, Jared.
Yes.
Did you have something to say? Did you have something to talk about this week? No.
Not really. I mean, I haven't really been shooting a whole lot. I've been doing a bunch of teaching stuff and work, and I think I went to a sniper school.
Yeah, I thought I said you.
Since the last time we'd done a class, and that was fun. We just it was a bunch of pictures of unarmed women holding babies, and you had to make the shot and hit both of them. And so that was
with one shot.
Yeah, with one shot. It was pretty hard.
We call that the JFK.
JFK bullet.
I was going for Ruby Ridge, but it's pretty close.
Oh, snap!
It's a government problem.
Well,
I was going to say, where do you think the snipers learned how to shoot the lady at Ruby Ridge? Looking at you, JFK.
They had the what was it? They have like the PowerPoint presentation of how to be a sniper. Is just good Call of Duty clips. Is like, you see how he's leading them, bam, headshot. Now this is how you line up a collateral. This is how you do it. Now your attachments, guys. Let's go over the attachments.
Standing on her front porch, shoot the baby. Wait, what?
We actually just watched Shooter a bunch with Marky Mark, and it was fun though. It was a fun little class, and this one actually wasn't that bad because they didn't go too far into the weeds. Because realistically, most law enforcement, there's actually been a number of law enforcement engagements with sniper rifles, and most of them though are within about 50 yards, and most of them are hostage situation type shots. And so that's what a lot of the class was, and it was a week long. And yeah, it's kind of fun. And now I get to deploy as a sniper for our SWAT team, which is entertaining. The other day I got to actually deploy behind the bolt gun for the first time, and that was kind of fun. We have our little nondescript vehicle that we get a shoot out of, and so we're doing pre-surveillance and watching the house behind a Accuracy International 308, and it was a good time.
Are you hiding in the back of a sedan with the hole cut out of the trunk? Because I think I've seen this before.
It's a red Prius with one of the doors have been bondoed on. It's gray. It says "Dirty Mike and the Boys" is the license plate, but it's a very nondescript vehicle. You'll never see it. The red Prius is blend in.
Robert pulling out the ever rare DC sniper car description, you know.
Hey, it was good times had by all.
One little hole. It's imaginary.
Except for if you're at a gas station. Yeah.
So yeah,
no, that's
that was
pretty. Shooting and moving class, June 1st, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to happen or not, though, because weirdly, like, only 4 people have signed up. So I don't know if I'm going to do the class or not, but it's odd because
go sign up.
Well, if you want to do it, yeah, I need some people to sign up. But I don't know if it's just like the beginning of summer and people are busy and you got vacations.
Everybody's going on their
stuff right after school's over, right? So
yeah, school's just over, and so that's what I think it is, because there's every other one of these classes is sold out. So it's like, oh, okay, it's all right. I'm not too worried about it, and so if more people sign up, we'll do it, and if more people don't, I will have a Saturday off. So I'm okay with either one of these options. I like Saturdays. So yeah.
Kevin, Robert shot Area 1. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your experience, Kevin, and what you've been up to.
So Area 1 was good. I think it's worth talking about the range, right? So the Giordano's built up that range. It's nice, right? Like the town is actually well suited to host an event like that, right? Like from a hotel amenities perspective. So I was a little skeptical there, but seemed good. Maybe the restaurants could be a little tuned up more, but when you have like what we figured, about 20% population increase for the town coming in, that's a little bit much. All of which want to eat out. So, but it turned out to be okay. The match was good. I don't know that like it was amazing stages or anything, right? Not again. I don't want to say that any of them were bad necessarily, right? Like because they weren't. I don't know. What was your kind of gauge on the stages? No, there's no but to that. I just like.
It sounded like there was a but, Kevin.
No, there's just there was nothing that was super memorable, and not that there has to be necessarily, right? But just as I kind of went through it, they were good, solid stages. I think they brought out good competition, differentiation there. So I don't say that with any dissuasion towards the match, but it didn't seem super memorable. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be. In some of the other area ones weren't that way.
The stages function correctly and reliably and move shooters along.
They did. We didn't have any backups at all.
That was good
actually,
that way.
None. So again, there's great benefits to that. And I don't say that as a bad thing about the match that it didn't have something super memorable. But I do think that does lend itself to making people more interested in coming back, right, and doing things like that in the future. So, I mean, there's issues like what with Area 1 up in Puyallup where they had the train. Like, that was pretty memorable. There was a lot of match issues related to the said train. But,
right.
There's certain things like that can be fun and still a pain in the butt, too. So, I don't know. Otherwise, I do have an interesting story about shooting. So, the weather gods blessed me this weekend with exactly what I needed, being that I'm going to shoot Care Optics Nationals here shortly, and it was a rainstorm last year. I'm expecting it might be the same this year. So I shot caps over the weekend, and it was a rainy day, very moist.
Saturday was nasty.
Yeah, so we got most of the last two stages is where it really rained. The second to last stage was, it was like a sprinkle. It was fine. The last stage, it was like downpour. We'd given up basically. You could basically not pace targets, even though we had bags on them, right? Like it cooled down enough that the tape was cold and wet, so not sticky at all. Like you'd rub the tape on the target, and Clay did this. He rubbed the tape on the target. He's like, "Is that the sticky side?" Flips it over. No, neither side's sticky. So what do you do? But
why doesn't this work?
Well, what son of a bitch keeps putting holes in these bags? God,
it's leaking. They're supposed to stop the water, right? But I shot with Clay and Leo and a few other good shooters, right? But we had several new guys with us, and not like new, like never shot a match before, and had the weirdest like deja vu. I don't know if the guy was shooting a Glock, I think. So he's got a behind the back kind of what do you call that? Like 4 o'clock hold inside the waistband.
Yeah. Oh, geez.
And I see that and I go, ooh, I don't love this as an RO, right? But I'm like, okay, we'll see how he draws. But I'm watching him, and the first stage of the match, he pulls it out and he's shooting, and then you kind of go this way on the stage so you get a good profile of it. This is on his right side. He's moving and he's shooting it left-handed, right? Like not weak hand only, right? Like gripping it left-handed. I'm like, what am I seeing here? I don't understand it. And the thing is
right-handed behind the back holster, gripping and shooting the gun left-handed.
So he was drawing it and transitioning to the left hand.
I saw him shooting it right-handed other places in the day too. So
he's a god, Kevin. You're just jealous. Jealous Kevin. Everyone point at Kevin. He's jealous.
Squirrely Dan.
Yeah, and it's shooters like that, and I hope he comes back because he was safe enough, right? There were a few things that he needed some coaching on, but there's definitely shooters that could go the other way, right? Like I tend to find myself squatting with a lot of very experienced shooters, and so you typically I just don't see that. And I saw that, and I'm like, oh,
you don't want to die.
I don't want to go to public range ever, right? Like some of these people are scary, but good match. It was great.
No,
shooting the rain.
That's absurd that somebody went to an area match as their first match.
Was Caps.
This was at Caps.
Just at Caps.
Yeah.
I thought you meant their area 1 match was their first match. I'm like, what a fucking lunatic.
No, just at the local, but still it was... You do the double take. I'm trying to compute in my head what happened.
How'd the Canic run in the wet there and the optics and all
Everything
that?
Everything was good run-wise. So I shot all of Area 1 with one. I had one malfunction at Area 1, which I didn't...
At the worst place possible.
a 4.5 second fixed time stage with 3 shots per paper. And, and I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 shots in, and then malfunction, and I was able to clear it and shoot 2 more shots, but I could have finished the stage, I think. And I'm not you're going to have a malfunction that happens, right? Like, it's the duration since I've had my last malfunction is such that I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this, it can happen, right? Whatever, dirt, something in the gun, but I'm just like, I just wanted to shoot that, right? Like, I wanted to shoot that stage just to see if I could burn it down, right? Like,
I've seen videos of that one. That one looks like a stage that I would enjoy.
Yeah. It was fun too, right? Like, ran great there. Mechanics ran great in all my practices since, and at Caps ran flawless in the rain and everything. So actually I was surprised. I didn't have any starbursting even on that last stage, and it was I was dripping everywhere, right? So I learned I need to grip the gun more when it's wet, a lot more.
Yeah.
Why isn't my chalk working?
Oh, that was the worst when we used to shoot IDPA, Robert. Remember that? Would have hands at the bottom of the sink, and then you'd grab in the water was. You'd always have these tape matches, and was it ever above 55 degrees? Nope. Nope, you don't need it. Put your hands at the bottom of the sink, bitch. And you'd put your hands at the bottom of the sink, and then you'd go, and then you'd grab your Glock, and your Gen 3 Glock was slightly slick, and then whatever you had on your hands from pasting or whatever like that, or the grip chalk that you had on your gun, or whatever slime was on your gun just became this kind of weird little thing. It was the worst. But so gonna go shoot the DWX after Nationals.
Yep.
Buying a second DWX.
Maybe. They have an optics ready one, right? So there's actually a legit reason, because it seems as though many of these firearm manufacturers lately have been making minor revisions, right? So thankfully, I didn't end up changing anything, but my last, the Canic that I bought that's serial numbered, this year production, it's different. The barrel lockup interface with the guide ride is different. Not a lot, but it's different, right? Yeah. And so, things like that, I need to check, right? And so, I don't know, a lot of people have DWXs. Fortunately for me, right, people have been buying guide rods pretty well. It's been a pretty good seller for me. And so, I'm thinking once those are kind of more in stock, I haven't seen one actually on the shelves anywhere, but they're now optics ready out the gate, so I may pick up one of those to have a backup and have a
so the idea Robert has and that I have and Jared has with his 509s, the rain ready blaster, the second DWX, do you think you're going to go with an enclosed optic like an EPS or a 509 or something like that?
I don't know. I've debated what I want to put on it. I have the 507 comp on the main one, and I don't dislike it necessarily. I don't think it's a bad optic, but I don't love it. I really like my SIG Romeo 3s. Just the glass is clear, the dot's super bright, crisp, clean. I like just a 6.0 MOA dot. I don't need all other options. I don't care about that. And so, not that I'm going to buy that, but I'm thinking of trying to find something. There are a few other kind of large glass optics that have just a 6 MOA, something like that I may try, but I don't know. We'll see.
But the one thing about the 507 comp, it just works.
Yep.
It's big. It works.
And and like I said before, I think when I'm shooting it on a stage, I don't notice the dot, right? It's fine. I mean, I haven't shot it enough in the sun, I guess, to know for sure if the brightness is there, but seems as though it probably is, given how popular it is.
Mm.
For sure. And if you want to go hang the most expensive thing on your waist, head over to Dominate Defense and do it right. Get the Mach 1 speed belt. Get any one of the concealed carry belts. Anything that your heart desires, that is the best belt product in the United States of America. I'd even say, dare say, the world. Check them out. Dominate Defense. Use promo code PARA10. Save 10%.
Their new belt is nice. I got the new liner from Jason. So I was using the metal clasp one. Not that there was anything wrong with that; it worked, but I actually do really like the new kind of Velcro setup better.
The Velcro tab, the Velcro on Velcro tab.
What is this?
It's very. I have one.
I don't have it in front of me. So they have the metal like loop hook, I guess, for your inner belt.
Sure.
And they've switched to just a Velcro. So it's like a elastic band with Velcro onto the outside of the belt, right? So it still gives you your tightness, but it's not as like you have much more adjustability, right? Because you could Velcro it anywhere. You don't have to hit a hook location.
Oh, interesting. Huh? Yeah, I've just always been using the standard metal hook one, but I also use it for my daily, so I've never even thought one way or the other.
It might actually the new setup might actually work better for you as a daily, right? Because just I don't know if you know, like if I find like if I wear thermals and my jeans, if you will, right, and I put my hook loop, it like doesn't. It's either too loose or a little too tight, right? Whereas with the new Velcro, it's just like, man, just set it wherever you want.
Huh.
Yep. It holds up pretty tight.
I think there's a couple companies that are starting to do that. And it looks like, I don't know if these guys are copying Jason, but it looks like there's a couple companies out there that are all copying or doing the same thing as Jason is. I don't know if Jason was the first to do it. I certainly don't remember any of these other companies doing it before Jason, but there's a bunch of other companies now that are making belts very, very similar to the dominant belt style, and I'm just like, oh, well, that's kind of too bad. Everyone's just copying each other because it's a good idea.
Who are you feeling bad about? What's the belt you're thinking of?
No, I'm feeling bad for Jason because some of these other belts.
What's the other belt you're thinking of?
Well, I know the other one that I'm thinking of, Jason actually OEMs them for Tier 1, doesn't he?
Oh, I don't know about that. He could.
I think because there's Tier 1, and then there's a bunch of them now. What was it, Hunter Constantine? They came out with a new belt that kind of looks similar, and then there's another company that's like the same thing.
The Hunter belt, it looks like he just ripped off Jason. Like I actually thought Jason made him for him.
I don't know if he does, or I don't know what the thing is. But
I don't know for sure, but I'm fairly sure he does.
I hope that he does.
I hope he does too.
Just like, because there's a bunch of them that I'm starting to see now on the social medias that it's like, wait, that looks like Jason's belt. Are guys just copying? Because I know that's a huge thing in the Kydex world where everybody just copies and steals from each other, and there's zero companies with their own like innovation. There's a handful of pack leaders, but for the most part, everybody's just stealing from everybody else. So I was wondering if that's the same thing in the belt land.
I'm sure to some degree it will.
Do
right?
all the R&D
stuff. You can probably go order one on Temu or something like that, right?
All I know is I like what Jason's doing. I think he's made a damn good belt. It's worked everything I've wanted it to do. I've been happy, and if he's the one who started it and he made a quality belt and I like it, I see no reason to go somewhere else unless there's something so wrong. And as of yet, I think his belt is pretty damn awesome.
It's still the freaking best.
I think it is. I legit think it's the best belt on the market. I really love it.
You like a dominant defense speed belt, some ghost pouches, and a holster that you can just top on the other side on that's hanger compatible or Safariland compatible. Like, you're set. Like, that belt system will get you through almost every single division until you shoot a gun that requires different magazine pouches. Like, it is
like the DWX.
Is the best thing. And like, yeah, like the.
Do they use weird mag pouches?
They're just wider. They're wider than mechanic ones, right? So it's like I've got my CR Speed holster. Like, I've got one of their just sort of injection molded ones, right? I've got to change the insert to switch over to the DWX mags.
Yeah, they're like a P320 mag instead of Browning pattern magazine. Yeah. What are you gonna do except for put some weight in that bitch and head on over to W74?
Except for I'm still out of stock on batteries. I'll be stocked soon here.
He's out of stock on batteries. He's instead of the bougie banger habit.
The guide rods. It's my namesake, right? Come buy some guide rods.
That's buy some guide rods. Get some weight in the front of that blaster. You got a new 10mm barrel. You need to mess around with guide weights and to tame that harsh power of that 10mm. Get a W74 guide rod. Get 2 tungsten batteries. Get an X300. weigh that bad boy down. So your wrist will thank you. W74 Guide Rods. Use promo code PARA10 and save 10% off. While you're also on the internet, head on over to Rune Tactical. Get some +1 fun. Get some springs. Get all the stuff that you guys need to make your competition life possibly 3 to 4% better. That's one round. That's how you do it. Check them out, and also use the same promo code Science W74. Sorry, use promo code PARA10, save 10% off your order, and head on over. Download the app Telegram. Pop in there. See who else is minorly not trusting of the government and wants their conversation secured. And search Paracast, and you can check us out and ask us questions and go from there.
From our good friend Nate Osborne.
Robert, I have something I want to talk about for everyone real quick that I just thought of. So there's this one stage, right, the weekend stage, and this is like a tip for all you dry fire people out there. So what do you do every time you take your left hand off the gun?
Reload the gun.
You reload the gun, right? So I think probably every squad had this, right? So this is a stage, last 3 targets, weekend only, right? Everybody goes shooting it and go to pass the gun off to their other hand, take their hand off to situate it, drop their mag instantly. You didn't need to drop your mag. And based off of the language that came out of their mouth, they didn't mean to drop their mag. Shit.
I heard great oogly moogly a lot.
Yeah. So
instead of just switching hands, they would drop the magazine.
You're shooting, right? And then you're taking this hand off, because you've got to get the gun to open it up. And as soon as they take this hand off, they were dropping their mag, right? Like, just because they built up that muscle memory of, switch means drop. And I've done the same thing in the past, right? Like, I had this at a match where I did the exact same thing, last 3 shots, and I dropped the mag, and it was like not planned, totally instinct. And so now, as part of my training, I make sure that I'm doing that handoff from a grip, right? Because I practiced a lot where I would draw and immediately hand off, right, for a weekend only stage. But the last 3 targets, that transition, you need to break that muscle memory of having to drop the mag, because it was like big problem, Robert. Right? When you say like if every squad has at least one person doing it, it's a training issue.
Oh yeah.
Well, there was that old I don't know if Ben Stayer came up with it, but it was one of his old books back in the day, like 2014, which was like the 3 hands drill. And I'd always kind of finish this, especially because I was shooting a lot of IDPA, which is like draw, freestyle 1-2, strong hand 1-2, switch over to the weekend 1-2, and they had the par times in that thing, of what to do. But like, it's a pretty good drill because it just kind of helps you make the transition, make the eye transition, because there's almost at no point in USPSA is there a classifier or a stage that has you draw and shoot from the weak hand. It's always after something else. And most likely it's draw, shoot, steal, transition to the strong hand, shoot paper or whatever, right, or the weak hand or whatever, shoot paper. So it's very productive. Anyway, Robert?
So from Nate Osborne, do any of you enjoy shooting iron-sighted guns at matches anymore? If not, is it partially due to stage design favoring dot guns, ammo capacity, or other rules in the division? Or do you just enjoy the red dot a lot more, and why?
I shot the COP match with the P2000 with white dot irons, and I had a lot of fun doing it. It wasn't like a huge hindrance, except for at some points. The one thing, when I went to war, 10-shot war with a piece of steel at 20 yards.
It was great, except for that one time.
Except for that one time.
And that other stage.
The expense and what we used to have to invest in iron sights to get the gun with a type of ammo to hit where it was aiming. You can still be as fast with it, but the setup and the ease of doing it is not that good. Because if you look at a good pair of irons, a good pair of iron sights with nice big black billboard for a rear, nice little section, fiber optics front sight, thin, very easily pointable, it makes sense, and it's not too hard. A lot of us grew up shooting and doing that, and it was fine. The issue is these enjoying the sight setups that basically come on the gun, which are mostly all abortions and garbage from point of aim, point of impact, and what you're doing. Like, does it shoot to the dots? Does it shoot to the top? Does it shoot at a 6 o'clock hold at 25? Like, all that kind of nonsense stuff, that is not enjoyable. The one thing that's nice about the dot is when you put the dot on the gun, each one of us goes and we zero that gun.
Right.
And we get this nice little cluster of stuff, and we just basically go, huh.
Yep.
That's great. Must be me. You shoot the gun. Must be me. Irons, there's a lot of times where you would go out there and shoot irons, and you would just be like, me, gun, don't know.
God.
But
Who knows?
When the gun is set up, it is still very enjoyable. So
Go ahead, Jared. You tell.
I think actually swapping between the two is a lot of fun. Shooting a red dot a lot, and then doing target focus a lot, and then swapping over to your iron sights, and also doing target focus because nobody uses their front sight anymore.
It is extremely difficult to switch back to the irons and go to target focus.
I always have done target focus with iron sights. I've never really done the front sight focus. But I think it's actually a lot of fun to go back and forth between the two because it can actually show you a little bit of difference. It also can. There are a lot of shooters who struggle with over confirming on their red dot. One of my cop friends, he does that all the time where he's just constantly over confirming his red dot. So he can shoot a lot faster, but once he gets on the timer, he just starts seeing the dot every time. He's not seeing the streak. He's not doing any type of predictive shooting. He's simply trying to see that dot settle on every single target, which is a big problem for him. And so I actually convinced him to shoot one match without a dot and see if he went faster, and he was amazed by it because he's like, whoa, I've gone so much faster. I'm like, no, it's because with a dot on, you're getting more information. With iron sights, you get less information. And so you're getting too much information for you to process, and so that's slowing you down. That's why a lot of guys will say red dots are slower than iron sights. It's not. All it is just more information. And if your brain or you aren't used to processing that much information, it slows you down. And so going back to the irons where you're getting less information can actually help you kind of overcome that hurdle if that's something that you're having issues with. And that actually helped him a lot where he realized, and he's like, oh shit, I can go fast.
Sometimes the iron sights are way too damn hard to track in recoil when the dot is not. And like the difference between being fast with the dot and being slow with the dot is simply, where is my eyes focused on the target, or is the dot going to draw my eyes to it? And then you start staring at the dot and you're like, wow, this is going pretty shitty. Like I used to think I could shoot a plate rack, and you're just like, I'm having a hard time shooting this plate rack. Whoa. What the hell's going on?
So yeah, it's fun. I like shooting irons still. Actually, one of my concealed carry guns just has irons set up right now, even though I have a red dot for it. I actually got annoyed of changing the battery out, and I took the damn red dot off. I'm like, fuck it, this is a 10-yard gun anyways. I don't need a stupid red dot on this thing. So I've just been rocking that with no red dot. It does have irons on it, although that would be fun.
Yeah.
Just go full P365 SAS. No irons. No optics, nothing. We don't need anything here. We're just here to destroy things.
Yeah,
but that could be an IDPA gun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost exclusively optics. I mean, outside of, I practice and I carry irons, right? But a big part of that's like, I just don't want to be bothered trying to mess with batteries. And I mean, some of the new closed emitter stuff I think is more interesting from that perspective, right? Like I'd consider that. Uh-huh. But, I have my gun now. I shoot it just fine. It's comfortable. So, I practice a bit with the irons, but probably not enough.
The presentation on irons is still much better. It's still more fun to me. Like you just bring up the gun and like you're just looking straight over the top of that hood and shoot, and it's pretty fun. Like I still like when I mess around and carry the P2000 or screw around with some of these 45 guns. Like I'm just like, that's pretty cool.
I mean,
like you just stare down over the barrel.
I've been meaning to build up just a single stack gun with iron sights, and that would be so much fun just to shoot a 9-miner single stack, and that's what I kind of want to do is just build up a 9-miner gun and run around and be stupid with that.
That could be fun. I've thought about getting a single stack gun just to go shoot single stack and it would be 9 just because I'm not going to bother to go get a different caliber and set up for it. I'm not going to do it. So
yeah,
I'm to the point. I mean, if how do I say this nicely? I basically look at iron sights on guns in the same way that I do like a 1930 car. It's quaint. It's something cool and retro, and old people really like to use it. But is it valid anymore? I mean, it does move. It goes. But we have this really cool technology that works so much better. And why would I want to use this old shit? And especially when you consider that I can take any of my guns, like today pretty much, and I could take it over to Josh Dobson, and I can have him do all the work on it, and I can put a dot on there that's going to work, because all of these optics that are on the market, except for like, a handful of like really junky ones, they're all pretty darn good. And so I can put an optic on a gun, and I'm not getting any younger, and so that target focus life is really kind of starting to become a valid thing for me. I don't see it.
We'll get you some Crimson Trace grips, Robert. You can have a good time. You don't need
No. We'll get him a Laser Max guide rod. Jared, we're really gonna throw it back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the one
then
thing
I'll
about
walk around with my "Don't Shoot Me First" vest, and I'll be like, I remember back when Pepperidge Farms.
Did any of you guys ever have the Crimson Trace grips?
No.
I'm left-handed. They were always for a
way.
right-handed shooter, so I was always covering it up. And I'm like, well, that's stupid. I was just jealous.
I bought a 1911 and I put one on there because I bought it off Utah Gun Exchange, and it actually already had the Crimson Trace grips on there. And I'm not gonna lie, that was some of the funniest shit I ever shot. Shooting that and going to like back in the day, it was the Range Masters Fun Shoot. So you could it was an indoor facility, so you could actually see the laser. Because I don't know if you guys know this,
through all the
you
lead
can't
smoke?
see red. You can't see red lasers in daytime. You just can't see them.
Oh, really?
Hold on. Not just a red laser, red laser powered by a watch battery.
Yeah,
with 1990s text. You can't see shit with those things. Like, there's literally like pen lasers that were charged with 2 AA's that would be like, oh my god, what is this? Did you signal aircraft with this? The Crimson Trace ones were bad.
I just remember like they had them on a couple guns that came into the armory, and we tried them, and it looks really good until you fire. I mean, because you can fire once and the gun and it comes back, but then it's like all you see is this like flicking like light all over the place. And you're like, what the hell is all that?
You just spazzing the shit out.
Yeah, it was
when
weird.
you're looking at the dot, when you look at the dot that's on the optic and you watch it bounce all around, and then you're just like, I need to be target focused. Now here's a situation where you're staring at the target and the dot is also target focused.
Yeah.
And so would you like an overload of information and have no way of correcting that? Congratulations, everybody. You've now mastered what the dot is, because when you at least when you stare at the dot when it's in the optic, it's moving around, but it's moving around on the target, and you understand that the dot's closer to your face, and like you can kind of like manage your inputs to steer the gun. When that laser's on a target that far away, every little micro management you do just throws that thing everywhere.
Flying.
You're like,
it's bouncing all over the place.
I did find that it was a little bit more manageable. I never liked it. I never really liked it, but it was more manageable on a rifle, like a 223 or something like that. It didn't seem to have that like just that like, holy shit, what happened to the thing?
Shooting a laser on a 223 on a rifle, we actually do that quite a bit, especially under infrared, under night vision.
Sure,
that's your aiming device, but a laser on a rifle is a blast.
Yeah,
and actually something that I would really like to do one day is just run around one slips a match with the nods on and the daylight filter, so I can actually see the IR laser and just run around with all the kit on and shoot all the targets with your PC with your AR. That'd be hilarious. But
well, the funny thing is too, it's like having
it's so stupid, but it's so much fun.
Right.
The squad in the RO with like nods on too and be like, no, you broke the 180, bro. No, we saw the laser right there. You broke the 180.
You can't see it. You can't prove shit.
The one gun that you kind of would look at, like some of those attachments that always looked badass, was I saw a Beretta 92 with like a factory like 20 round 93R magazine in it. It had a comp port on the front, and it had Crimson Trace laser grips, and I was just like, that is the ultimate pistol. Like, that is for people.
I had that gun in Battlefield 4. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's for like guys who are like, that's for people who really know what they're doing, who just can't live life with a standard Beretta 92. They got Crimson Traces and a comp and a 20-round magazine. You know, it's just like, wow. So
I don't know. Peak 90s aesthetic.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I think iron sights on guns are cool. I mean, I love production division. I think it's fun when you're competing against other guys in the same division. I think that's awesome.
Oh yeah. A Glock 17 or a CZ75 with adjustable irons and a nice thin fiber.
Yeah.
And like a good trigger, like that's how we all got into this, and that's really, really, it's really fun.
I mean, a handful of my carry guns are just like Kevin said. They're still iron sights because at the end of the day, they just work. I mean, iron sights still just work, and there's something to be said for that. I mean, technology and all that, but
it's nice to have something that works. Solidified in my mind too. Like, so the Dickens drill.
Oh yeah,
like,
right.
I pulled out my P365, my normal carry gun, and I shot that, and I think I had like what was it? Was it 10 shots or 9? I don't know. I had
10 shots.
I had 9 hits, you know, and most of them, you know, AC zone. I'm like, okay, that's, you know, those were long shots too, right? Like,
I took out an SP 2022 from the fine people at 6 Hour, and with their factory night sights, and I shot 8 out of 10 shots high into the left-hand shoulder. And then I put some Dawson precision sights on, and you shoot it again. I was like, oh, I got 10 shots in the body. How nice is that? That's irons, everybody.
Yeah,
that's
my first
irons.
You do forget.
Right? Like, I got it, like, brand new, right? Like, I went and shot it, and it was hitting, like, I don't know, 6 inches low at 7 yards. I'm like, what? You know, so real quickly, I figured out, oh, Dawson will do custom heights, and so you do the math and order the right ones. And
oh yeah,
that was those the Hudson H9 when those things first came out. They're like, yeah, it needs a 12 o'clock hold. A what? Yeah, you just hold way above it. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's when I was teaching teaching classes, I had this class, and this guy came up and he had a 40 caliber Springfield XD compact. You know, you don't pick the clients, and
you go to war with the army that you have, not the army you wish you had.
Yeah, and so we're like shooting, and he's like high, and it's like, all right, let's check. And so I go group the gun at 25 yards. The damn thing shot like 14 inches high at 20 yards.
Holy hell.
With the factory sights. Like, hold bottom of the A zone.
Missed the sight
welcome
zone.
to the B zone. Yeah, welcome to the sight zone. Like, it was like I was like, maybe hold the dots, hold the top of the sights,
hold, right? Something like that.
Yeah. Combat hold.
Aim for his crotch.
It was
it's fine.
Yeah. The old guy's going to pop out of the woodwork and be like, listen here, guys, you want to aim at his stomach because you want to see his hand, so it's naturally that's what you're going to do. Man, this is actually real. It's based on science.
But my favorite thing to do, you take a gun that has its factory irons, and then you get a dot that's actually mounted low enough to where you can actually see where the zero of the dot is, and then you look to see where the dot is lined up in the irons. You're like, dear God, this is how these irons work? Like, you want me holding at the bottom of the circle, and there's like, the hell is this, guys? What are you doing? So,
from Andy Erickson, what goofy caliber do you like? Just because you like it. 10 millimeter is fun for me.
Robert, I guess go ahead and answer that first.
Well, I still want a Desert Eagle in 50 Action Express. I just think it's cool. The gun is worthless. I get it, but I love it.
Which Desert Eagle would you get? The stainless, the silver one?
No, I want the gold one.
I
want the gold one.
The gold tiger stripe or the silver tiger stripe?
Oh, God, tiger stripe is kind of cool, especially if it was gold tiger stripe. I mean, if you're gonna go all in, go all in.
Gold tiger stripe Deagle would be fucking.
That'd be pretty awesome. I would be so down with that.
That is ultimate flexing on the pores.
Oh, there is a part of me that sincerely wants one of those guns.
Per bullet?
I don't know,
56, like $1.25 a shot. Yeah, it's kind of pricey, and those guns are still $2,000 or whatever like that, and they are gas operated system. Like,
yeah, that was the Lago before Lago came along.
Yeah, and good on them for, taking a system that everyone else has said no thanks to. Like, good for them for picking up that system. It's like the rotary engine in a Mazda RX-7. It's like, thanks for keeping the dream alive.
I like the Wankel rotary engine, mostly because it's got a funny name. No, I just think it's a cool gun. I love the caliber.
Wait, but you don't have it.
I don't have it. I mean, we had that was
Robert,
one of the coolest bits when I worked at the Armory.
Why didn't you get that?
Yeah,
get that. I got 10 millimeter.
Don't get a Blackstone grill. Get a fucking Desert Eagle.
I kind of like that Blackstone grill. Thank you very much. We have already used it twice.
Now you can shoot it. You can shoot it with your Desert Eagle.
Now I can have a Desert Eagle and I can shoot somebody trying to steal the bacon off of my Blackstone grill.
There you go.
See? Things to think about. All I know is that it was such awesomeness because people would come in and they would shoot the Desert Eagle at the Armory and they'd be like, after like 3 shots, they're like, I don't want this anymore. I'm like, sweet, we'll take the rest of it. And we had a blast with it. I've still got like 20, 30 rounds just sitting in boxes, just waiting for me to go buy that gold tiger stripe Desert Eagle.
One of the interesting rounds I would have no ever chance of shooting is like what is it? The Russian 9x39. It's with the VSS Vortex and all that. That stuff. That stuff is pretty freaking cool.
That's in the Papa-Shah, right? Or is that the Tokarev?
No, that is literally their VSS. So it's their sight. It's their anti-sentry gun.
Black.
It's their version of the 300 Black, and so they would have supersonic and stuff for the VSS and the AS Val, and they would have these things, and they had like all these things. Like the Russians are very like communism will force you to do things you don't want to do, and so like they had like
starve.
all these calibers, all these calibers that had different types of projectile materials and velocities to achieve their certain goal for like maximum suppression, range, armor penetrating capabilities. Like the one thing that like we don't see a lot because of the armor piercing kind of rules that we have here is the amount of like steel projectile bullets in shapes with thin layers of copper that are like 9mm projectiles at like 50 grains. Like 50 grains mean even at 1,600 feet per second. And like you kind of like see all that stuff and you're like, pretty cool. But I would love to shoot one of those guns. I think that would be freaking phenomenal.
That'd be cool as shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I really loathe odd cartridges just from a practicality standpoint. If I was to have to say one, I would probably say Adem and Mauser.
Well, the humble marks, the frugal in you. But what about the bougie one?
I don't think there is one, right? But I have some sentimental.
You got to put your Elton John glasses on, then
Choose
you can answer this.
The only background music to the shooting's Benny and the Jets. Dun 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 dun.
Kevin shoots as the Frugals, and then he puts on the Elton John glasses, and he becomes
a bougie banger.
Bougie banger. No, but I do have some sentimental attachment to Adem and Mauser. My grandpa, I think his grandpa brought it home from the war, and so we have one that's in the family that has a broken firing pin currently, but I've got some of that and to load and stuff. So it's been sporterized, like they used it. It's a hunting rifle, and it's still reasonably accurate, right? Like I'd go hunt deer or something with it, fine. So I'll get it fixed and I'll go shoot a deer with it and have some sentimental value there.
If only there was a Mauser K98 firing pin somewhere out there in the world.
I just got to order one.
If only you could find one. I think
you can order them by
one out of
the
tungsten.
fistful, actually. You'll find one that works.
I think there's. They made some. I'm pretty sure that they got some produced.
I kind of agree with what Kevin said. I don't really do oddball calibers just because I don't know. I have 9mm and I have 223. Apparently now I have a bunch of 308, and that's it. That's it for me. If I was to do something, I would probably do some sort of squirrely ass 300 black gun, just because we had one of the guys brought out a 300 black Honey Badger with a Q suppressor on it to the sniper day the other day, and we were shooting that, and it's seriously just like, and they're cool as shit. Mm-hmm. But again, that's a very impractical round, even though it is neat.
No, I instead of having like funky calibers, I much prefer interesting loading and like universal calibers to get stuff that was not designed to do this shit to do something completely different. And it's just like, that's like overhaul kits to like Beretta M9s to make them cycle like extremely quiet rounds and still keep like the semi-automatic capability and like the certain suppressors they would put on it. Like there was some like SR-71 type engineering shit to kill people quietly in places that they were not supposed to be, which is always super interesting.
I thought you were going to say you liked just doing interesting things like, maybe I won't add powder to this round. Let's see what happens with this.
No. We call that 2014 through 2016.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. At least I never put too much powder in. And there's a big difference in the level of the mood of driving home between not putting enough powder in and putting too much powder in. And so, one, you're mad at yourself. The second one, your significant other, which you spent $2,000 on this rig, is also mad at you. And nowadays, guess what, kids? You get the chance to blow up an optic too. Isn't that great? Welcome, new reloaders. Welcome.
Let's see. Should we introduce more difficult, longer distance shots at local club matches? Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
There's no reason to not have them at a match, right? Like you don't want to overwhelm. Like at Area 1, Robert, like there were some long shots there that definitely challenged fundamental skills that people need to have, right? Like even myself,
sure.
like there was probably like a 20-yard maybe skunk target that I took three makeup shot at.
No, I don't think that's
it, right. Maybe it was 25 yards, but it was not so far that you just didn't think about it, right? But it was far enough that you needed to like really come in on a clean press and to get those hits. And it was, it's heartening to see me just for myself to take three like instinctive like makeup shots, and then it's also saddening to go, you just had to waste a second taking makeup shots on this target.
Well, it is kind of depressing to see like the modern types of shooters that are coming into the sport where it's just like, hey, just see how fast you can shoot 7-yard targets with a dot and get to the end.
Well, so part of this is that there's a way to do long targets well, and there's like far away targets well where it's still achievable, and then there's ways to make it so it just fucks everybody. Like you don't want to put a plate rack at 20 yards, but if you do a paper target at 20 yards and the guys who feel confident will do those 2 shots. And if you want to do ballsy stuff, do the skunk target, do the zebra or whatever. That's all reasonable, I would say. But the problem we get is when these guys will put like a steel target out at like 20, 30, 40 yards. And then it just becomes going to war.
Magdump
and then
City.
That hurts this. Yeah, it turns into Magdump City. It hurts the stage flow. Versus if it's a paper target and you have the new guy who has it at the 5 o'clock hold and draws and then swaps to his left hand and shoots. If he shoots at that target at 20 yards and it's a skunk, does he know if he hit in the brown or the black or the target at all? No.
No, he's just moving on.
He's probably just going to shoot 2, maybe 3 times anyways, and he's just going to carry on. And I think that's the way to do it. If you are going to do farther targets, make sure that they're paper because you don't want it to interrupt your match flow. That's the big thing there. I think harder targets are very good, and it's totally fine to do them. But I also think you need to just manage it. Like, don't have every single target on a 20-round stage be a super hard aimy target. That's not fun. And again, it hurts your match flow. Because if your match reset and time for this one stage is super, super long, then it's going to hurt the whole match. Whereas if you just do a bunch of fast targets up close and then do a very, very hard 20-yarder and say, no, you can actually shoot this 20-yard target from any one of these positions. There are 4 or 5 shooting positions on the stage. You can shoot it from any one of them. You get a pick. And that'll make it a little bit more fun. It's still challenging, but it's doable, and it doesn't hurt the match flow. And I think those are the two big things that you want to make sure that if you're going to introduce hard targets, that's the way to do it correctly. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, I've not run a match.
I kind of have.
I would say that it's kind of good to have some of these skills that you hit, right? Like maybe not every match, but every few matches, you're like, oh, we need to have a long target because it's a fundamental skill people need to develop. Sorry, go ahead, Robert.
Mm-hmm. I have two thoughts on adding more difficult or longer distance. I am very, very much in the camp of what Jared talked about a little bit ago, but I've come very much hard to believe it, where match flow is the god that you sacrifice everything else onto. I mean, match flow has to be the king. It is everything. I also believe that a shooter should never show up at a higher level match, a level 2 or an area match, and see something new, something they haven't ever seen before. If there's going to be swingers, they should have seen it at a local match. If there's going to be hard targets at distance, they should have seen them somewhere. It doesn't mean that we have to make every single match have these hard targets, but your shooter should be at least given some opportunity to see that at a local match. That's kind of how I look at it. When I do my indoor match, almost every single match for the regular version of the match, people will shoot a standard stage. We can't strong hand, because I don't ever want them showing up to a major match and being like, I don't know how to even get my eyes over the gun when I'm shooting weak hand. Okay, well, I'm going to give you a lot of opportunities to try this out in a match setting so that you at least have some experience. So you could take that experience and then go home and practice it yourself. I like that. I don't think that we have to make every single match have all these hard targets, but I love the idea of at least giving people enough opportunities to see things.
Yeah, the one thing about with paper targets, especially at range for stage flow, is that one target that's out there at 25 yards, that takes one pacer away from every other target, and maybe he can walk over and pace the other one that's at 25 yards or whatever, and then he's got to come back. And not everyone's going to decide to sprint out there and sprint back for every other shooter, on the squad. But the one thing that we kind of lose as we get kind of closer to the stage flow stuff like that, and we start shooting everything like it's a Grantham video, is that there was the test of the shooters, which was this is a 3-pronged test. It was your preparation for the match, it was the equipment that you brought, and then your skill as the shooter. And as we make everything up close and fast, there's less worry about the equipment that we have and that we're going through, because we would used to have to we'd have to go out there, put out the guns there, and then group the guns, and then group the ammo, because we've all had matches where we'd go out there and we'd shoot shit at 25 yards and be like, no, the sights were on there. I swear to God, the sights were on there. And then we go test some load, and it's like, oh, this shit shoots like an 8-inch group. And I never noticed that. And the other part is, too, it's like, as far as the kids and the long shots, it's like, you bitches got a dot. You got a dot. You got high quality. It's very easy to find cheap full metal jacket, plated bullets that will do, and like coated bullets that will do exactly what you want with the powder that you have. And a lot of these guys are buying store-bought ammo, and most of the guns out of the factory are dead nuts, way more accurate than the guns we started growing up shooting. And It's just like, we have to put that stuff in there because people have to learn. You have to show up with good gear, and you have to manage that stuff, not just I can sprint and shoot every target within 8 yards as fast as I can, and my gun runs, and therefore I'm a grandmaster.
I mean, like Leo,
just spazzing out.
Leo, we had this discussion in a group chat, and Leo, he made the comment. I mean, like the local matches really aren't there to be the tester of everything, and he's right. I mean, but at the same time, I do think there's value in at least showing people the things that you should expect to see at a major match, so that the new guys going to those would have some. At the end of the day, he's right. The practice is on you. You do have to practice, and that always comes down to you and your preparation, what you're going to put into the match. But I sure do like at least exposing people to things that you're going to see in the match and stuff like that. Last question. Have you heard about the VR shooting game called Ace Shooting? I've been curious about it lately. What's your opinion on the game? Is it worth giving it a shot? I've heard through the grapevine that JJ and Tim Herron are pretty hyped about it. Apparently, they've been raving about how dope it is. Got any insider info or thoughts to share?
I don't know who's getting paid to pimp it out. I know like a Quest 3 is about $500. The game's going to set you back, and there's like subscription models with the game as well. So you're thinking about spending about $1,000.
Only subscription model, by the way. So
that's my big stopping point.
Mm-hmm.
The subscription is bullshit.
I mean, I get why they're doing it, right? But I don't know.
There's a small handful of people that care enough about practical shooting that they'll invest the money in it, and they got to get the money out of those people over and over again to make it viable.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I've considered getting it, right? But very specific reason. It's quite difficult for me to take a dry fire setup with me when I travel for work, and I'd like to maintain honing skills, right? There's certain things, physical fitness and stuff I can do when I'm on the road, okay, right? But training your eyes, doing transitions with the red dot, I think some of that could be at least a training tool, right? But if you don't have that criteria and the cost is at all prohibitive, get your freaking dry fire targets and do some gun handling, right? Like you can get a lot out of dry firing, and if you don't dry fire, again, I guess it's another argument for a tool like this. If it makes it fun for you, then okay, right? There's some benefit to that.
But is that just the new girlfriend syndrome?
I don't think so, right?
Because dry fire will take you a long way.
No, it can, but if you can go shoot stages, right? You could actually, like, we could all get on this Ace VR at the same time, and we could shoot a stage together, right? Like that's part of their thing. So,
could we shoot each other?
I think so.
That's a different game.
But so introducing that fun concept to it, right? Like. Part of my consideration too was like, oh, this could be fun for my kids, right? I don't have to spend as much ammo. They'd get in there, have some fun, do some transitions, and see the sights and dot. Yeah, you don't have recoil, but again, you don't have recoil under dry fire anyways. So, get you some additional, trigger time, if you will, without, spending ammo.
Right. Well, here's the kind of thing I look at. Like, it is a more, what would you say? It is a more fleshed out visualization of dry fire. But it's a more fleshed out visualization of dry fire, and it's not as much as a fleshed out, processing of having your gun on your equipment, doing your reloads out of the magazine, and then going back to the visual.
Oh, you can get the handsets made to your gun now. There are people who actually make it, which is kind of cool.
They just made a staccato one.
No, there's a Shadow 2.
Look, what I'm saying is like let it have whatever feel you think it's going to have. Is it going to come out of your holster? Is it going to take your magazine that you can put on it? Is it going to make you adjust your grip exactly the way that you need to have it back out there when you present out to the gun? Like visualization, like this game is a visualization game. And the problem is like dry fire is very easy to get distracted from. And so anything that kind of makes you feel like if I spend $1,000, I can become better at the visualization part of the game. Maybe you get better at the visualization part and it seems much more immersive and it's fun and it makes you do it. I don't know. I don't know. I think Steger figured out the dry fire thing, 15 years ago, and he's written a bunch of books on it, and it turns out discipline might be the best practice formula you ever had on it, but it does look fun. And my son likes it and he's got VR, and I would love to have a Quest 3, and if I had a Quest 3 and I bought that game and I spent the $300 on the game and the gun and I got to do that for the rest of my life, I'm already in. Like, I could play multiplayer with my son and have a good time, and he learns more about the visual aspects of shooting, and I get to have a little bit of that, but to do it and have a subscription model and to do all that stuff, and it's just like...
The subscription model just feels dirty.
It does. I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's of all the things, the MetaQuest to me is cool. I mean, that's a cool thing. The handset, I think, is cool. The game itself is cool.
Right.
The fact that you want $20 a month, that's where it's like, all right, kids, that's it. I'm out. I'm off the bus. I think there's a lot of people.
They could get rid of a lot of the dirtiness still, because I agree that it's there. By just saying, you buy your gun, you get access to these 20 stages or these 20 drills or whatever, and then, hey, this year we launched a new downloadable content pack. It's
a DLC.
There's DLC.
5 other stages,
there's a DLC pack,
and it's
$100
or whatever it is.
Or
then I get the choice. Okay, yeah, I do. I want to shoot those stages because Jared posted the freaking best score on it. I'm going to go try and beat him. Right.
Right.
But I don't know.
That would be fun, and that would be a way where they could get around that, whether it's DLC or it's like, we have this guy on retainer as an instructor, and if he's going to watch your videos, if you're doing $20, if you're doing the subscription model, then you can actually get some private instruction from an instructor or something along those lines. But when it's just $20 to play the game every single month, that just pisses me off in general.
I agree.
I think it would be a really good tool, though, if you're struggling with transitions and you're struggling with eye game, and if you're struggling with that, and I think a lot of shooters do struggle with those things. And if you can't seem to get better at those two things, if you're focused, if you can't seem to do target focus, or if you can't seem to get good at transitions quick, then I think that game could absolutely have a very positive effect for you.
I think there's a lot of value to the game. I really do. I mean, it teaches
fun.
you. It's a lot of fun, and I think for a lot of people, the fun factor would cause them to work a lot harder with actually practicing. The question for me, it's like I said, it keeps coming back to this idea of like, I just don't want. I've gotten to a point where I'm really starting to become very anti any subscription, whether it's like the Netflixes or this OnlyFans. No, I'm okay with that because
he feels like he's getting
okay.
something for his money.
That's supporting small business owners.
That is true, and I've always told you, Jared, I will support your business. So I'm doing it for you. But
thanks, bud.
Yeah, not a problem, man. But no, I wish they would sell me the game and then sell me DLCs. I'd be okay with that. I really would. I would be 100% okay with that.
I would rather play Dirt Rally 2 in VR and drive around on a force feedback wheel and like learn how to do some stuff. And like, guess what? When I'm done, I paid $20 for the game. I paid my money for the wheel and stuff like that. Like, I'm fine. Here's the other deal. VR, if you have not messed around with VR is absolutely dog shit at depth of field of view. Mm-hmm. Because the screen is pre-focused on where it's going to be. Oh. So you moving your eyes around or playing with the eye game, it's not. You get to look at the can I practice with target focus or dot focus? No.
It's all focused.
It's the same. It's the same depth. You iron sight shooters, have fun, because whatever you're trying to do, you can't actually do there. And so what your eyes actually do and what your eyes don't. I think it's a beautiful example of how to prosecute stages and how to show people and to get people in who are new. If you were a trainer and like, here, you can come over, do all this stuff, or we'll set this up at like something and we'll kind of show you how to do that and how things should work, that'd be fine. But the one thing that like, there's two drills that basically kind of make you a better shooter, like some sort of like far back, like dot occlusion to keeping you looking at where you're supposed to be, and keeping your hands the consistent pressure through large strings of fire.
Yeah.
When you grab that plastic gun, we've all had dry fire grip and then gotten to the range and then like, hot shit, this thing moves around. I need to grip this harder. God damn, my bullets are going everywhere. What's wrong with me? I was way better. Like, I think it's very good for a lot of things. I think it's very expensive for what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Honestly, you could go buy one of like the Tarkov or SWAT simulators for the Quest 3 and get the same visual processing that you probably could there, and they have little target ranges too that show you your impacts. And just like most things, it's about how you use it and the discipline in which you use it. And you could probably get out of that whole entire thing with your Quest 3 and your $50 game and be $550 out of it and be playing around. And you get to throw grenades in rooms with your children. It's fantastic.
Nice. I'm glad you said with your children, not at your children.
Now listen, like sometimes you got to play. Sometimes you got to play PvP and teach them how to do it. But the problem thing is they get so young and they get these reflexes.
Reaction time.
I never was really like, oh, I gotta watch it with my kids. Mike put me in a rear naked choke the other day, and he was just like, oh, he's like strong, and he's got like technique, and like I barely pried his arm off the back of my neck, but like for like 3 seconds there, I was like, oh damn, like I'm gonna lose a fight to my kid because he was sneaky.
Yeah, Dakota yesterday came up behind me. He gives me that hug goodnight, and he like starts squeezing. I'm like, oh, damn, when did this kid get strong?
Like when all of a sudden they like run and like plow you from behind, like tackle you or something from behind, and you're just like, oh god, oh hey kid, because they used to be able to like run into you like no issues, and then they start running into you, you're like that hurts. Watch what you're doing to me. Your elbows hurt.
Growing up.
But you still have to be like bigger than him, and you have to pretend that it didn't hurt, and so you walk around the hallway and you're like, oh jeez.
He was digging it. We were wrestling around where he came in the morning and we were like roughhousing, and he starts doing this thing that they've been doing in jiu-jitsu where he just buries his chin into your collarbones, and it's just like, you son of a bitch, stop it. He goes, don't worry, Dad, it won't hurt you. It doesn't actually hurt you. It's just uncomfortable. You got to learn to be uncomfortable. I was like, I'll make you uncomfortable.
Listen here, you little shit.
I brought you into this world, and I'll take you out, and I can make a replacement. They'll never know.
So help me.
So anyway, thanks for downloading, listening, and subscribing. Thanks for kicking around with us for an hour and 50 minutes. We appreciate all that you guys do. We, sorry, we gave you the double thick version of the show today because we missed so much. So hope you guys enjoyed it. For Robert Wyatt, Jared Stepp, and Kevin Isaac, I'm Tom Nelson, bidding you peace, love, and soul as we depart into the open waters of the Sea of Life on a little tugboat we like to call the Paracast.
Good night, everybody.
Toodles.